Welcome back to A Little Book Club. I'm John,
And I am Matt.
and today we're going to talk about our 5 disappointments of 2019.
Right. And so to clarify, this isn't necessarily our worst movies.
Right,
Up
just
to
the
that.
disappointing ones.
The
The one, like, our expectations were not really met. Or,
Right. And maybe it was just okay, and we thought it was going to be great.
Yeah,
that
that
makes
kind of
sense.
stuff. And these aren't necessarily bad movies, just
Yeah.
ones we were a little
Yeah.
sad by.
Some are bad, too.
Some are bad.
Okay, so you start this one off.
Okay, so my fifth disappointment, so this is not the most disappointing,
Right.
but number 5 for me was John Wick 3.
Really?
I
almost-
wanted
yeah.
a little more out of it, you know, and part of my
I actually thought about that one, too.
it could be my fault on this one. I came into it expecting this to be like a trilogy, and so I was expecting to see like a finale to the John Wick story.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them for like continuing on the series and being like, hey, this is really great, we're gonna keep doing these.
Mm-hmm.
That's their prerogative. It was just me coming into it thinking, oh, we're gonna see like a final showdown, we're gonna see something really awesome with John Wick like toppling this group of people. And instead, we got these really confusing moments of like meeting some dude in the desert,
Right.
cutting off a finger
Yeah, it was odd. A little bit.
for a reason that he later went back against,
Yeah.
and then having someone betray
A
him.
double, triple cross.
Yeah, and just some things is like you just kind of like threw in wrinkles that weren't necessary to keep this thing going.
And you only believe that because I told you to believe that.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so
Yeah,
it's one
no,
of those
I'm
that
with
I
you.
just I came out, I walked out of it being like, oh, I just don't, I wanted a little more.
And to be real, like when I was writing down like all the movies I had seen, kind of thing, like that one popped up, and I'm like, oh, that might make it on the disappointment list because kind of the similar to you, like just the ending kind of disappointed overall. But I felt like the action just.
Oh
kept it
yeah,
off
I
of
mean it's still John Wick action. It's still great stuff.
Of course, yeah,
Yeah.
and I understand. So number 5 to me, which is surprising to me, but again, this was one of my most anticipated movies, and it just disappointed me. Was The Lion King.
Oh yeah. What could go wrong with taking an animated movie and turning it into an animated movie?
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, granted, this is incredibly beautiful. It definitely should win Best Visual Effects. I mean, to think that this is literally, there's no backgrounds, there's no real animals, there's no water, there's nothing.
It's just all CG.
It's all CG.
But made to look real life.
Made to look real. It's absolutely beautiful, but I think, and it's not a bad story. I mean, it's the Lion King story.
Right.
But I think there was some spirit or something that was lost in making them look real, that, you know, something that an animated face can do that makes something a little bit more
I guess
fun.
to kind of compare it to one of your on the top 10 favorites, which you can check out somewhere.
Right.
Is that, you know, whereas Aladdin kind of brought something new to the story.
Exactly.
And kept
It was
fresh.
almost too on the nose.
Yeah.
And it didn't really add much, and if anything, it detracted.
Just to speak of being on the nose a little bit, we didn't say this before, please like and subscribe.
Yeah, for sure.
We're still learning the ropes on the YouTube thing, but we appreciate y'all's comments and everything y'all been doing to interact with us. And
I just love having
views.
this community to bounce that things
really
back
cool.
and forth up.
Anyway, all right. So now moving on, number 4, right?
Yeah.
So number 4 for me, and I have to find it because I have this. Oh, It Chapter 2.
Okay.
It Chapter 2. I wasn't as disappointed in it as some people were, but it's still like It Chapter 1 was really good.
Yeah, it was excellent.
And then it could just be because it followed the way it followed the story, and the story ends in a weird way.
Yeah.
It just didn't really have a solid ending to me.
Right.
And it kind of funnily didn't take its own advice to, you know, stick the ending.
Yeah, that's true. Oh,
They made a joke about, you know, not writing a good ending in the movie, and they kind of had a weird ending.
Yeah, no, I definitely see what you're talking about, and it might show up on my list later on.
Yeah, not that much. Okay, number 4 for you.
Number 4 for me was Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
You know, I was wondering about that. It kind of it ended up in a limbo for me.
Kind of like me with John, me with John Wick,
Yeah.
I guess. But yeah, I think, I don't know, it just kind of came and went. It was very forgettable. Even in the movie, it was just like too much of something, if that makes sense.
A lot of plot
Without
a lot of story, kind of like we've talked about other things.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, it just, overall, I thought it looked super cool from the original trailers.
Yeah.
And I think, again, that's where anticipation meets an okay movie. And,
the only
it
saving
becomes a
grace
bit
for
fun.
me was in this that I liked it better than the first Godzilla, the one prior to this one. Obviously not the first, but I thought as far as a sequel,
Yeah.
it actually picked up the kind of things that they missed on the first one.
Yeah.
Where
I can see that.
it actually fixed on Godzilla and the other monsters rather than being, here's this random guy who's going to be running around and he happens to be in the same places that Godzilla shows up.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, the first one I didn't like very much at all either. And
Yeah, but I understand the disappointments. I mean,
the first one I didn't like, and I can see what you're saying. It was an improvement over that, but I guess to me, it wasn't enough of an improvement, especially for the hype that got built for it.
For sure.
Me.
I can see that.
So, yeah.
All right, so number 3. Okay, so this one is a little bit going to be an odd one because I had specific expectations for it that most people may not have, and that's The Current War.
Okay.
And it's kind of an indie flick, more of a historical-based movie than anything else.
A little bit of a biopic, yeah.
Yeah, a bit of a biopic, but it's weird by biopic standards. Things happen really quickly in this movie, and I'm a fan of that era, but also of Tesla and the Edison conflict that happened, and I thought it was a really interesting time in history, and those are really interesting characters, but the whole movie felt rushed, and it felt really stylistic, but didn't really give you time to sit with characters and really experience the moments and tensions of their lives.
I can see what you're saying because there's just so many good elements to that movie that you expect that it would be good. Like, I love the subject matter. I thought all 3 of the actors are great.
Yeah, good casting, too.
Yeah.
Really good placement
for sure.
of those actors.
You know, Cumberbatch, and then I can't think of his name, Tolkien dude.
Yeah, way to go.
And and then Michael Shannon is excellent. So
right.
Yeah, and then great subject matter. It just didn't.
Yeah, I just one of those that I walked into it like wanting to like it, but walked out of it feeling a little that it was just missing something.
Oh, believe me, there's a few things missing something in this list.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So we're
number 3 for you.
Number 3, X-Men: Dark Phoenix.
Okay, that's fair. I didn't put it on this for a couple of reasons, but I understand everything you're going to say about it.
Yeah. So here we go. The reason this isn't higher on my list is because I'd heard bad things about it, and so I guess my expectations were tampered before I even walked in. But yeah, I mean, it didn't add anything to me. What this movie felt like, and it's the oddest thing, but it felt like an extended trailer for a movie.
Yeah,
it didn't feel like a movie. It felt like the way the music was hitting.
This was going to happen.
Right.
And then you didn't really see it happen.
Right. It was just like, you know what would be a cool thing if we just put this cinematic shot with music going.
Right.
Where's the context? And here's the thing. It was a first-time director. I mean, that makes sense. But one thing is, don't give a first-time director a $100-something million budget movie.
X-Men, for some reason, just cannot,
stick the landing?
Well, not even that. That series has such a weird history of just great and then just bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so all over the place as a series. And now we have a trend. It's a challenge. Can anybody direct a good X-Men movie that involves a Phoenix storyline?
No, it was just bad.
X3 was awful. And now this
Dark
wasn't
Phoenix.
really hitting any good notes. I mean, there was some good action. Of course, you still have those good actors from, the first class branch of these movies. So,
and then they showed you Mystique was going to die in the trailers. And then
so the tension just was completely deflated from that.
It didn't make much sense at all. Yeah. So, anyways, sorry.
I get it. I understand. So that was your number 3.
Yeah. So you're down to 2.
All right, so my number 2, and you're gonna hate me for this one.
All right.
Endgame.
I son of a
bitch. It's a finale.
This video is over.
It's the finale, and you like invented plot points that didn't exist ever before. You didn't foreshadow half of the movie, and then most of
You're
the movie
talking about my number one.
was like this garbage plot hole time travel bull crap.
It was the best hits. It was the Avengers' greatest hits album.
I don't care. No.
This was
That's like saying The Force Awakens was just a compilation of all the things we like about Star Wars.
No,
it's garbage.
this
I mean,
was-
if you can't make a coherent story without constantly referring back to, oh, remember this funny thing that they did back then?
this was now Marvel Volume 23.
Yeah, it was, and not in a good way. It's probably Kids Bop Marvel Volume 26.
Dude, okay.
Anyway,
okay.
I could go on and on. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
kick a dead horse. This movie
It was great.
just disappointed me in so many ways. Not least of which, all the tensions they neglected to actually cash in on that they set up in Infinity War. Like, oh, Hulk gets his ass kicked and he doesn't want to come out to play anymore. We could resolve this in Endgame, or we could just skip ahead 5 years and make him somebody else. Okay. Anyway, there's so many problems I have with it. I can't list them all.
Yeah.
But
That was
it just
a big problem.
It disappointed
I'll give you
me. Like, that's the thing. It's not that it's a terrible movie. It's a disappointing movie.
Yes.
Because it's the finale of a 10-year story arc.
Try 40 here. Anyways, number 2 for me.
Yeah, number 2 for you.
Okay. Because I think we're going to be basically in congruence here.
Yeah, I think our numbers ones are going to match up again.
Number 2 is It Chapter 2.
Okay.
And for a lot of the same reasons, but I think it's, I don't know, it just, the first one was just so good. It was like lightning in a bottle.
Right.
And and the trailers were outrageously awesome to this one, kind of like Godzilla. And I just went in there thinking, man, this is way too long, and it just wasn't scary. None of it had, to me, the tension that, and I don't like scary movies generally because I get scared.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. It also could be the nature of the story, right? Because It Chapter 1 was literally, oh, a terrifying thing is happening to children. And It Chapter 2 is like, oh, these adults remember a terrifying thing that happened to them as children.
Right. But I don't know. I just felt like, I don't know. Since I had such high expectations of it,
Right.
I came out of it just thinking, wow, I never really want to see that again. And it just...
That's fair.
It disappointed me quite a bit. And so let's go to number 1 so we can shit on this movie.
Yeah, so hard. I mean, again, if you've seen our review of this, you will already know what we're going to say. Our number 1 most disappointing movie of all time, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
You took
Oh,
40
my
years
goodness.
to break my heart.
It was all of the worst things you could have done for a Star Wars movie finale.
You know what this movie did? Made me appreciate The Last Jedi. That's how bad The Rise of Skywalker.
That's saying a lot. I mean, you bring in like plot devices that literally all the things that I've said before about movies. The things that never existed in this world, you just suddenly appear really conveniently. There's more plot than story.
The Emperor's at the very end, and all he does was a lightning monster from the very top or whatever, which is so stupid.
Skybeam.
And then
and then all of a sudden you have
give him a lightsaber.
Kyren, whatever, Ben and Rey.
Yeah.
Like,
well, we knew that was going to happen.
I know, but no, you made them this special thing that no one's ever heard of, so that the Emperor can suck life out of them, and then use that for some. Anyway,
but then
there's so many
sucked
weird
life out of them, and you didn't even give him a lightsaber or a lightsaber duel.
You couldn't have mashed them off, had a real fight between them,
and then even
and then you throw out the relationship between her and Palpatine, and then you don't actually build up any tension between that. You just have this random face-off that you didn't expect to see coming.
Yeah, and then now she's Rey Skywalker.
Yeah, that was...
No, you're not. You're Palpatine. Go somewhere else.
We have like a 10-minute video. I don't know how long is that video. We ranted.
Minutes.
We ranted for a long time, so you can go see that video.
And
it doesn't even clearly articulate. We're just really hurting about this.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. And in no shape or form is this the worst movie of the year.
Right.
And there is
quality of cinematography and all that.
And some of the acting was great, and in general, like, there were some really redeeming qualities about it. And I've heard other people talk glowingly about it.
Yeah, I know people who like this movie.
I wanted to love this movie,
Right.
and that's what breaks my heart the most. You're
Yeah.
breaking my heart, Anakin.
Nah, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's our 5 disappointing movies of this year.
Absolutely.
I mean, maybe
you know what
you
the
have
worst
other
part?
ones.
Sorry,
Okay,
you know
go
what the
ahead.
worst part is? The prequels at least made me feel like we had this sequel trilogy, and I know how it ended, and it felt good. You know, the original trilogy,
right,
it's
right.
like, well, the first 3 didn't really work out, but I mean, we know it turns out great. And this one disappointed, and there's nothing coming after it.
Yeah,
They can-
this is seeing someone dying and knowing that this is it.
Yeah,
This is the end of life.
yeah. And they didn't
Anyway,
die on a high note.
we're getting depressing here. So maybe you completely disagree with us.
I'm
Maybe
sure you do.
maybe you aren't disappointed by movies at all.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just have a different one. So let us know in the comments below what you thought was kind of disappointing this year. We
Yeah.
also have a video about our 10 favorite. We aren't just like crapping on all
Oh,
movies.
no. We
So
love
check out our
movies.
videos on the 10 favorite ones.
Yeah, check out the new videos, and see you.
See you next time.